Hey everybody, and welcome to the Alabama Take. I'm your host, Corey Hanna. This week on the podcast, I'm talking to Stone Anderson. I'm here with Stone Anderson. Stone plays with a couple of bands.
Hey, what's up?
And we'll get into some of that later. But so tell me a little bit about your musical history, I guess. At what age did you start playing?
Oh, man. I guess 12 or 13? I'm going to say 12 because that's more experience. But I think it's probably like, 12. Got my first guitar, like that was actually mine from my pop. It was a Cort acoustic, and I was just kind of figuring out how to play the standard classic rock stuff, and that's when I kind of like dropped down into the Nirvana. I think Best of the Box was just coming out, and that commercial was playing all the time, and it kind of like unlocked all that stuff that was I'd kind of heard as a small child, in the car with the parents or whatever, and that's when it like took off. And
so how old are you?
I'm 25.
Oh, okay. So you were
94.
You were a wee child,
just a wee tot, but
when Nirvana was out.
Yeah, but it was all that stuff that played. As soon as I got reintroduced to it as an adolescent, like it all came back quick, because it was just such a big part of the car ride as a baby or as an infant.
Sure.
So, and
that was Elvis for me.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I wish I had like a more classical, like something like that. But yeah, Nirvana. It was Nirvana and Pumpkins, and you and Matt did a really good Pumpkins talk on when you and the great Matt Wake
did
Matt,
that was the first time I met that dude.
He is solid.
I would sit and talk with him for hours if I could get the chance.
I've done it, man, and it's a pleasure.
Yeah.
He is such a bastion of, like, I don't know. I didn't know I wanted to know that much about Hanoi Rocks, and then I sat down with him and was like, I'm glad I know all this stuff about Hanoi Rocks now. This was very, very good.
So you say there was a lot of Nirvana and a lot of Smashing Pumpkins for you then?
Yeah, my mom was pretty hip. She had really good taste, which I thank the good Lord for, because I don't know where I'd be. And she was the driver of the car. So
not from your dad, who's the musician, but from
no, forget him. Yeah, he's terrible taste. No, I think it was more like the carpooly, getting around stuff. Of course, Dad instilled great stuff, and I'm thankful for that too. But I think it's the subconscious, like, to school, from school, to the store, blah, 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 whatever, where Mom listened to really cool stuff. And even after that, my parents had I think it was like a combined CD collection on a big shelf in the house that I eventually just inherited. Somehow it went into my room when I was a teenager. So I got to kind of comb through that.
I just took all the shit from my parents.
Yeah.
Because when I was a kid, it was like, I had a lot of 45 records and a few LPs. Yeah. And then cassettes came out, so I had cassettes. And then, like, when I was probably in 7th grade when I started playing guitar, is when I started, like, stealing Dad's. I say steal. I mean, I just, like, grabbed them from the basement. But, like, his, like, Skinner records and his Kiss records and shit that. So I
was going to ask what the rules of engagement were for potty words, and you said shit.
Yeah, so shit. And whatever.
I'm trying to watch my my S's and F's because I did an interview with Matt Wake a couple weeks ago, and I did not realize how much I pepper in the word shit until it's in front of you on AL.com. You're like, man, it's S -- and it's
a friend of ours in college, his mom would call. And, it was back in the day before everybody had cell phones, and he would have the phone, like the cordless phone or whatever, and he would run off to the other room. Like, as he would see his mom's number pop up, and he'd be like, no shit and fuck. Yeah. No shit. Just yelling it throughout the apartment. So, like, so now whenever somebody says shit or fuck, like, in that combination, I always have to say.
Oh, man. When I was in middle school, high school, that was, like, free range. Like, if you couldn't tell anyone your mom was calling because that just opened the floodgates to like all the shit you could see there. All the stuff you would say. What awful thing can you come up with?
Yeah.
So
yeah. So with the Pumpkins and stuff like that, is that what you started playing a lot as like when you picked up the guitar? You said.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, for the most part, because when I started playing guitar, like I had the acoustic that Dad bought me when I was probably 12. And it was a cool acoustic. It wasn't a bad acoustic. It was like a Cort. And then he saw that I was taking it serious, and he's like, I guess I didn't really realize until he did a thing with Bill Fowler where he talked about giving me my first guitar. And I guess he saw. I guess I told him at some point that Hendrix and David Gilmour were my guys, like that I was really into. So he went and bought me a white Strat. Which nice. I wish I still had, but it was my first like electric guitar, and after that, I had that and a little Gorilla practice amp, and
I had
it was
a little
just
10-watt orange Gorilla.
Dude, yeah, that was the thing, and it was just all Nirvana and Pumpkins, and I know you're a big Pearl Jam guy, and I respect that, but I never got the Pearl Jam bug as much. Yeah. So I just I did the Corgan Cobain, back and forth until I could kind of play a little bit, even though they're probably not the best examples of guitar playing. But
so did you listen to a lot of the Pumpkin stuff like post Melancholy, or did you? Yeah, okay.
No, dude.
So that's where the band kind of ceased to exist for me as well. I did get that like the next album, or no, maybe not the one. Or was the one after that. No, it was the one after that. The
Machina of the Gods.
Yeah. I got that one. I don't think I ever bought Adore. Machina of the Gods was a little more of a rock record, I guess.
Yeah.
Than Adore was. It had a few songs on it, and that's if you heard the Matt Wake podcast, that's when I actually saw them on tour.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, they were one of the between Gish and Siamese Dream, like me and a buddy of mine, Adam Howard, best friend growing up, like still tight to this day. Just got a text from him earlier. We used to play a lot of those songs. He was a drummer. He could play anything really, but we would play a lot of those Gish and Siamese Dream songs. And
that's a tall order too. Yeah. The Chamberlain drum parts are no slouch.
I have some shitty 4-track recordings of some of that stuff, where I don't know if they even have bass on them, but
screw that. Who needs bass?
We would, throw one microphone up, and back then I didn't know anything about setting your levels right. I would just hit record until I could get a decent sound, and I would keep moving shit around.
Well, Glenn Johns does the 3-sticks overhead thing, and he's the baddest of the bad. So maybe you were onto something. You weren't that far off.
No, that's all we knew. Was like, I think because he mentioned at one point he saw inside one of the Lenny Kravitz records, he was like, he's just got like one microphone overhead, and we didn't know like that he had all his other mics. All his other drums mic'd up. See. Yeah, it was just his overhead apparently.
That's just my Neumann. Yeah. That's just whatever.
So yeah, I know I've still got some of those. I know we had I think we had Mayonnaise recorded 4-track. We didn't record a lot of that. We played them all the time, but I think Mayonnaise is one of the ones we actually recorded.
My fave off of Siamese. Yeah, Mayonnaise. It's a good one.
Yeah,
that's that you can, when you're not a good guitar player at 13, you can drop D and play that song real easy, and it just still sounds like a churning deep thing, but it's just like, it's just whatever. 2 fingers, really.
Yeah.
But
so did you see, I guess it's probably been a couple years ago now, where Billy Corgan was going out and like setting up and just playing acoustic songs like different places all over the country, and he did one right across the river from Florence and Killen.
I saw something about that, and I was
he's crazy as fuck now, so I don't pay much attention.
He's way crazy. He was also a wrestling promoter
what?
Yeah, he had something to do with wrestling.
I don't think I knew that.
I swear to God. So I think it was like right at the turn of his crazy.
Yeah.
Where he's like identity crisis Corgan. But no, I heard someone told me, I think it might have been one of the guys from the Pollies told me about that, which is just like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know how to even process. That's crazy.
Yeah.
How he even got there, or like, but that's cool. That's props to Corgan. I saw his Premier Guitar rig rundown not too long ago, and he seems like a pretty decent dude.
He's just a little fucked up.
He's like most people that got handed the Version Records empty check. young, whatever. Yeah. Probably just a couple of screws loose, rightfully so. But he seems like he's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to disparage the guy. I'm a big fan of his stuff.
Yeah, I still listen to those first couple records.
Still pretty fresh.
Yeah, I say quite a bit, but it's kind of pick and choose. I got a couple of playlists where some of those songs show up. So.
Gish is, man, I go back to Gish. It's really just that garagey production, I guess. Yeah. Whatever it is, Gish is killer. Like,
I could have just played the first two songs from that record.
And then
over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Just between I Am One and
Siva. Dude, what a... Ooh, I could just do it. There's a guy that I listen to. I forgot his name. Sorry, you're not listening. He does a Weezer. It's What's With These Homies Talking About Weezer, I think is what it's called, which is great. And it's this L.A. comedy writer who brings in semi-famous other comedians and talks about a different Weezer album.
Oh, wow.
Which is like, I listen to it all the time. And now I just want to do... like a Pumpkins, because there's a U2, You Talking U2 to Me.
Yeah. Which
is good.
I'm not a huge... I went through a U2 phase, and I still enjoy a couple of the records, but I can't stand Bono anymore. But
I'm with you. It's kind of the same Corgan thing.
I do. The same two dudes, though. It was Scott Aukerman and Adam Scott. Are You Talking R.E.M. Re-Me?
I got way into that one. That one was great.
That was perfect timing. That was right when I was peak into, like, every couple of years I get re-obsessed with R.E.M. And I was, like, just kind of easing into it.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, it was right around the time that Automatic for the People got re-released on vinyl. And they started that podcast, and I was like super into that.
It's a cool one. It's funny because Adam Scott is such an R.E.M. fan, and Scott Aukerman is not as much, but a little bit.
First couple of records, yeah.
Yeah, and so Adam Scott's kind of defending R.E.M. throughout the whole podcast.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like
it's great.
He's super obsessive.
Yeah. But I'm admittedly not a huge R.E.M. dude.
Yeah.
I think they have moments that are incredible.
Yeah.
And I know it's sacrilege to a lot of people, but I don't know. It just never really grabbed me.
Yeah.
But it's good.
So what kind of stuff did you play? Like, tell me about the first band you ever had.
The first band I think I was ever in was a couple guys that went to my middle school. It was River Chase Middle School. And it was about as movie typical about as plot typical as you could get. It was like, I had a guitar, this guy had a guitar, this kid Connor down the street had some drums, kind of, and a garage with parents that were negligent.
Yeah.
So we could just, well, not negligent, that sounds bad. They were very noise liberal.
Sure.
So they let us, I think that band was called Violet Eyes. It was Violet Eyes, yeah, because it was cool. And that was the first time I got to, like, play through an amp with other people, and that was cool. It's kind of like garagey, whatever, not super well thought. It's like, 13-year-olds or 14-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then after that, it very quickly became, like, hardcore and metal, because I grew up in Birmingham for the most part.
Okay.
And the whole thing down there was... like hardcore and metal and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I started doing that with a couple people, just in and out with some projects that never really coalesced. And that was about it until I kind of got my bearings with being well-rounded and moved to Huntsville and started playing other stuff. But
so how old were you when you moved to Huntsville?
18. I guess I just graduated high school.
Yeah.
So, and I had no desire to stick around Pelham, Alabama. Sorry, Pelham, Alabama. You know what you did. But, yeah, I just kind of, and Dad was like, move up here. So I did that and started playing gigs, just solo gigs around.
Like original stuff or covers? Or?
No original stuff, just covers. Just covers that that first go around, me playing as an 18-year-old me, not very good cover selection, and it's a big cringy thing I try to block out. But it was very formative, realizing, getting thrown in front of people and realizing like, ooh, like that doesn't go over very well.
Not everybody likes this.
Leave that shit in high school. But yeah, that was kind of. the feeling out, and also I think Rob said this on a podcast that he was on. He was like figuring out the drinking and kind of being handed the like, all right, you're in a bar, you're a young kid, you this is the best thing in the world, but don't overdo it thing.
Yeah.
And that was pretty. I just did that for a couple of years before finding an instrument and sticking with an instrument.
Yeah. So what was your first serious band then, I guess?
First serious band was Judson McKinney, who is a guy from South Carolina who moved to Nashville. And shit, this is probably like, what is 2019? It's been a while. I was 20. So it's been like I was 19, 20. So like 5-6 years. He had a band in Nashville. He was trying to put together a band in Nashville. And I had a connection from Fort Payne, actually, who was trying to find him a drummer and a bass player. And I had recently been playing drums around town, picking up gigs with Dr. Whatever, which used to be Cousin Boogie. And I played at the Blues Jam a lot. It's kind of where I cut my teeth with drums and bass and a little guitar. And I knew a buddy that was playing bass at the time, and I had a drum kit that Richard Shepard, Tommy Shepard's son, was nice enough to sell me at a very, very low cost. And it was one of those, like, I guess he saw a video of us playing, and he was like, bring him up here. So me and this guy, Jason Rogers, moved up to Nashville and moved into this old church it was very close to Fisk University, and we just kind of moved into bunk beds and rehearsed all the time and played a little bit at the basement. And yeah, so that was the first serious thing, was me just being sideman, drummer, whatever. So then at some point, I gathered from the interview you did with Matt Wake a few weeks ago, you moved to L.A. Yes.
So how long were you out there?
The Big Orange. I don't know if people call it that. That's made sense to me for some. The Judson McKinney, shout out Judson McKinney, great guy. He had been in LA for a couple years prior, doing his thing, and I guess moved to Nashville to find a different groove or band or whatever, and which I'm glad he did. But at some point he decided, it's like, Nashville's not the place, so I'm gonna take this operation back to Nashville. Who's with me? And right before that, we had to let go of the bass player for a litany of reasons. There was all kinds of stuff that wasn't working out, but so it was just me and him, and then the drummer, Sam Stringfield, who declined respectfully. He got the honorable discharge from the band. So it was just me and Judson, and we had bought this van in Decatur, this Econoline. I'm like, well, screw it. We'll just go there and find more people. So it's just me playing drums, and then Judson singing and playing guitar, and a little bit of gear and whatever. And we just drove out there and just kind of lived transient and played little gigs we could pick up here, and kind of did the whole rubbing shoulders with movers and shakers. And we got one song in a movie on Netflix that was like a straight to Netflix. It's called Back in the Day with Nick Swartzen. Yeah, we got a song on that. And that was about it. We really just hustled and struggled and didn't really get too far. But it was great. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was amazing.
Yeah, so probably a year or two out there. Is that right?
It was a little less than a year.
Yeah.
I came back for a Christmas and just never went back to LA.
Yeah.
It was so, being back home for a minute was like, I needed some time because it's an intense locale, especially if you're just like 20 years old and you don't really know. You don't have a lot of the crucial street smart life skills
that's a lot to get thrown into.
Yeah, it's a cool place to, be hip and young and whatever, and figure that out and sneak into bars. But it's also a great place to get mugged. So there's a middle ground.
I've learned that about Huntsville. Huntsville's got a lot of, because I lived in the Shoals up until a couple years ago.
Easy street, eh?
Yeah. There's a lot more crime in Huntsville.
Oh yeah,
I'm
baby.
That pretty quickly.
The 256 is no joke.
Somebody got robbed like a block from, or not robbed, robbed and shot. Well, one person was robbed, the other was shot right like a block from my apartment in Huntsville. Man. And I live like on Old Monrovia, right by that old Carmike movie theater.
Yeah.
And that new Publix they just built, like there was a robbing there about a week ago.
That's like close to Providence, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like right there. It was apparently like there was a guy, 2 dudes tried to rob this dude and his wife. And the dude that was being robbed had a gun, so he just shot one of the dudes. And
oh yeah,
it was kind of crazy.
You picked the wrong one, dude.
Yeah, you're like,
That's okay. Well, that sucks, man.
That's just a number of things, but just like every day I'm like, well, somebody else has been shot in Huntsville.
Yeah, me and my ex-girlfriend lived off like Sparkman behind the Thrift Mart up in the. There's a little hilly area.
Yeah.
There's a dead end street with apartments on it. The apartment complex next to ours or building was like just a junkie shoot house.
Yeah.
And like gunshots, and it was just crazy. She pretty much moved in there to piss off her dad, and I was just along for the ride for some reason. And it's you don't really think about you go to the Publix on Whitesburg Airport, and you're like, Huntsville's pretty great and clean and whatever. Yeah. But
this is a nice new Publix. We're like, it's super quiet over here where we live. And then I was here one night.
Again.
Yeah, I was here one night working and like waiting on a project to render or export or something. I was like, well, let me see what's going on Facebook. Yeah. First thing I pull up is like shooting on Old Monrovia. I was like, wait, hold up.
I just came here to get some LaCroix, but there's actually it's funny you said that because someone reminded me the other day. I think it was my friend Jacob, the drummer in Silver Fern's girlfriend Kayla. Shout out Kayla and Jacob. That there was a carjacking at the Publix on Mountain Gap in South Huntsville like a couple years ago, where someone just like at gunpoint stole a car. So you're not safe, Huntsville. Like they'll come get you.
They'll come. Yeah, was it Antoine Dotson?
No, yeah,
they raping everybody.
Yeah, there's Huntsville's cool like that. It's not all. Whatever this is, but
so I'm assuming not too long after you got back then, because you've been with Rob Aldridge and the Proponents for a while.
3 and some change. I think 3.5 years, maybe.
Yeah,
it might be coming up on 4.
I remember seeing you, and I didn't know who you were. You performed with the Robs and Marie Louie on Muscle Shoals to Music Row.
Yeah, that was my first. That was either the first or one of maybe the second time I played, and I did not do my due diligence enough. It was really cool, and we got through it, but I don't know. That was a really cool gig. I'll leave it at that. That was awesome. That was really cool. And also, one of the first times playing them, it didn't have a drummer, so just like me with an electric bass, and then like these 3 amazing singers and players, and then my whatever I am trying to. I didn't learn the songs like I should have, and it was kind of it was a sweat clinic for me for sure.
I've been a camera operator on that show for a while.
Oh, so you saw all the things that I did wrong.
I didn't notice. I was too busy trying to like make sure I had the shots I needed or whatever. But I do remember it because I was like, "Who's that kid?" And then I guess not too much later than that, you were like playing gigs with them pretty regularly. Yeah,
I hopped on. I guess their bass player Jay moved to Los Angeles. Good move with his wife, and he just needed a bass player, so I just kind of hopped on. And I guess I just never really screwed up enough for him to let me go.
Yeah.
So I just kind of stuck around until it's like, no, now I'm in the band.
You made a record with him, and you're still doing shows.
No, it's really cool. It's awesome.
So Aldridge isn't too shabby himself on the guitar, but you also get to share a stage with Rob Malone.
What a treat, man. He is one of a kind.
Yeah, dude's a monster.
He is. I mean, he's Rob Malone.
Yeah.
He's crazy. His guitar vocabulary is insanity, and it's really, and unfortunately, just the way it is. I usually play on Aldridge's side of the stage, which is usually stage left, and I never truly get to experience Malone until I go back and watch something or listen to something. But he is just, I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah.
And it really is. I'm very thankful to be able to play with someone as knowledgeable and as experienced and, as him. He's a great guy.
I can guess having 2 guitar players like that in the band and you're trying to hold down the bottom end can kind of keep you on your toes.
Well, it keeps you on your toes for sure, because Malone does not let a whole lot slide in the sonic department, which I'm glad he doesn't. He's very rehearsal Gestapo, which is great because it keeps me on my toes. But having 2 guitar players that are that good and that out front gives you a little bit of, like, I just have to hold down the root a little bit and so it goes 2 ways.
I don't know if I knew that Aldridge was that good, because every time I had seen him was mostly acoustic shows until I shot some live footage of you guys in Sheffield a couple years ago.
Was it 414?
Yeah. Not too long before I moved to Huntsville. And I guess that was probably the first Proponents show I saw. But,
man, yeah.
But, like, just the 2 of them playing off each other, especially, like, the Skinner tune that y'all play.
Dude.
I know a little. Like,
yeah.
They were just killing it together.
Aldridge, and I shout out Rob Aldridge. I tell him this all the time, and a lot of people tell him this all the time. It's like, dude, you are a killer lead player. Like, he's a solid rhythm player, though. He's all around great guitar player, and I don't know. It's cool to when Rob Aldridge steps out and takes a lead and just smokes it. It's really cool.
Yeah,
because he's got a really special. His way around the telly is really cool.
Yeah.
I love. It's always a treat to watch him play.
Yeah. So he told me to ask you about your first gig with them.
Wait, which?
So did we already touch on that? Was that technically your first gig at Muscle Shoals Music Row, or
that
was it something different?
I think that was it. He might be referring to the first,
like the first band gig, maybe.
I think the first band gig was at Humphreys, and to be honest, I don't remember, because I know in Rob, he's
there's got to be a story
there, an angle to embarrass me, like ask him about how bad he did that one thing, which is great because he keeps me on my toes in embarrassment ways. I don't know. I know that I really did. I stepped up to play, and I was really excited to play with him because I'd been listening to the record that Dad produced and played on, and it was just really cool, and it was new, and I just really loved it, and I knew they were gonna need a bass player at some point, and so I had known Rob very well up to that point, and I was super adamant about, like, I want to be your bass player. I want to be your bass player. Then the work ethic came in, and I kind of slacked off a little bit. And there's 1,000 times where when the first year, or probably less than a year, I was in that band, was not doing all that I could have been doing, and then I kind of got the treatment in one way or another from whoever to make me realize, like, yeah, this is serious. You need to step up, and that's kind of. And if it weren't for me getting that gig, I don't think it would be halfway decent as a bass player. Because it's not it's whatever gig it is. It's a serious thing. And
sure, because y'all play quite a bit.
Yeah, we play good. I'm super thankful for that too. We get to play.
It's not just an every once in a while kind of.
No, yeah, we're pretty regular, and it's great because,
So do you prefer live shows or like being in the studio making records?
Definitely live. Studio time's great. I'm not super veteran studio wise. I guess I've cut at Fame with Don Shrigley with the Proponents. I've done the Nut House for the record. But I haven't really done a whole lot of studio stuff.
Yeah.
I've done sound cell when I was real young with Dad. Dad kind of got me in there. But
so are you one of those guys that likes to Do you just use the same bass and same like amp on all of it, or do you swap out constantly?
I don't really do. I'm not super gear crazy with bass. I usually run the same head through. I have 3 cabinets that I swap out, but one of them is like an 810, so it's just not practical at all. So that one sits in the garage most of the time. But I have 2 basses that I play regularly, and then I have a head and then 2 cabs, a 212 and a 410. And it really just depends on the size of the gig, like, because the 410 is just a backbreaker. But I don't really use pedals. I just kind of...
I don't understand bass players that use a ton of pedals.
Well, I have a lot of friends that do it and swear by it, and that's cool. Your Tascam lit up. Is that okay?
Yeah, one of my battery things notched down. I've still got 2 bars.
Do you have a backup? Okay.
Yeah. I got
As
2
a
bars.
podcast, big podcast listener, I hear a lot of like, ooh, Tascam did this.
Yeah.
Whoa, what?
I've never had any issue. I love this little thing, man.
It looks super cool.
I've used a bunch of the Zoom units that are very similar.
Yeah.
And I honestly want to sell this one and get the Zoom H6 because I can have 4 XLR inputs. Mm-hmm. If Tascam made one with 4 XLR inputs, I'd get it instead.
You could do almost a whole band.
Because the Zooms fucking die. Like, I would have had to fucking change batteries already if this was a Zoom. At least of the Zooms I've used, they just kill batteries. So.
You're getting called out, Zoom.
Yeah.
Hot
Step
take.
up your shit.
Yeah. We're the Tascam family here. But...
So where were we? Oh yeah, talking
gear.
about like gear and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't understand. Like, I mean, I'm sure that some bands it makes sense, but like
sonically, I get it.
Yeah.
But if that's what the song calls for, that's what you're supposed to do. But with the Proponents, I use 2 basses. One, but I very rarely bring both. Sometimes depending on the condition of one bass. But I usually use my Tommy Shepard P bass, which I love dearly. Shout out Tommy Shepard. And my Fender Mustang is like a 73 short scale, which Freddie Hewitt, a friend of the Aldridges, was nice enough to loan me indefinitely to play with Rob with.
Nice.
It's a great bass. And then I have a hollow body bass that I bought from Spencer from the Pollies. It's kind of like just a fun screwing around.
Sure.
It's not super gig practical.
Yeah.
But
it might come in handy for recording one day or something.
Yeah, sure. That's good to... I like having gear around, but as far as gigging goes, I kind of stick with a P bass. A P bass is a P bass.
Yeah.
And an Ampeg is an Ampeg, and the TC electronic tuner is whatever that is. But
so you guys did do some recording out in Green Hill at Studio 144 not too long ago, right?
Yes. I always forget the numerals to that because there's so many number things around the shows, like 414,
116,
144.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time out there with Jay several years ago working on a thing that one of these days we'll see the light of day.
I just call it Green Hill.
Green Hill.
That's what I refer to it.
Out of the Pollies studio.
Yeah, Pollies place.
Yeah. So how many songs did you guys get done out there?
Jeez, I don't remember. We ran through at least 3, maybe. I don't. Nah, I feel stupid.
No,
it was
fine.
Yeah, it was. We got through a couple. I don't think we didn't finish any of it.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, I don't know. There were bits and pieces of some stuff, and we were going to go back and do whatever. And they're super busy guys, and Rob's doing his own thing out there at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think we're just, or no, that was we were at Portside.
Yeah, I knew when I talked to Rob on the podcast a while back, he said y'all initially did some stuff at Portside, and then you ended up redoing them, I think, out in Green Hill. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, we started at Portside. It's a wash with me because there's Portside first, and then the Pollies place, and then Rob went in and did his stuff too.
Yeah.
So in my head,
stuff
I just
with
kinda,
the Pollies back.
I equate them. Yeah, because I'm just hanging out, drinking beer at some point.
You're like, my shit's done.
In any of them, yeah. But yeah, it's the new stuff's really cool. It's definitely a different direction than the first Proponents record, but it's really cool. Rob steps out in cool ways as a songwriter.
Yeah.
Aldridge, and Malone too, of course. But there's darker undertones, and it's colored different ways for different songs that is really... There's different like thematic things going on that I'm really happy with.
So the next question comes from Clint from the Pollies.
Oh my!
How has knowing the Pollies changed your life? We'll have a few questions from a couple of those
Shout
guys.
out Clint, my boy, man. Clint, let me start with Clint. I'm gonna go down the roster. Clint is maybe the closest I've ever come to finding a me without being in a mirror at Plato's Closet, like talking to myself. He is great, and I love that man, and he's so good on the keys. He's such a good guitar player. That Nirvana show that you got up and played on,
yeah,
he used my Flying V for a couple of songs before it crapped out.
I didn't know he played. Yeah, I didn't know he played guitar. I'm sorry, because I saw him.
He's
play
a great guitar
songs.
player.
Yeah.
He just all.
But he played the whole show. Like,
yeah, but Clint, I love you, Clint. I'm gonna make you listen to this if you didn't listen to it already. And yeah.
So when I saw y'all, you guys played a gig at Low Mill on a Friday, and I didn't make it to that because I was still working. But I left work, went straight over to the bar at 805 because I knew that Aldridge was going to be opening for the Pollies.
Oh yeah, it was like a
couple weeks ago. Yeah. So I went over there because I wanted to hang out. I hadn't seen Jay and them in a while, and it looked like you and Clint had sort of a special thing going on.
I don't know, man. I guess it's just because we're both like the same age, and we're just irreverent beer drinkers. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Clint's my guy. I love Clint so much, and he's such a great player, and like that band. Jay is so great. Jay is such a God, man. That whole I don't even know what to say. Like, I mean, Spencer, come on, Spencer Donkin. He's the patron saint of bass in my mind. And John,
he's been with him for a while now too.
Yeah, I guess he's the only guy. When I first met the Pollies, it was John wasn't there, Clint wasn't there, and they had was it Cody, right? He was playing guitar.
Yeah, he did for a while.
Yeah, and
it was a fairly short stint, but like he added so much to that record. Record. It
was I guess who was drumming?
Spencer would have been on drum or on bass at that time.
Yeah, Spencer was on bass.
And was it Anton? Was that the dude's
maybe
name?
Was Anton the guy with the glasses?
I guess I only saw him with him once, and I never met him.
It's not. It was after Reed.
Okay,
was
it was
out.
probably Anton. Then.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, and but yeah, Spencer. I don't know. Spencer's just one of those guys. Like every time you see Spencer, it's like, oh man, I'm so glad he's here.
Yeah.
I just want to hug that guy.
Yeah.
And he's like the sweetest dude, and he's so music knowledgeable. Shout out Spencer Duncan. And John and Jay and Clint.
Shout out Pollies.
Shout out Pollies. But yeah, man, I don't know. That's it's such a cool. It's cool to have like a sister band. I guess we would be the sister band, but it's cool to have like dudes that are kind of in the same configuration. Yeah, that you can bitch about shit with, or just kind of drink and shoot shit with, whatever. Because
y'all have hit the road together a couple times for a few weekend stints here and there, and then
we've done the Mobile thing, which is great. I love shout out Callahan's. I'm stop saying shout out.
This is the shout out show.
Shout out show. Welcome back to shout outs. But yeah, they're great, and they're just it's fun to watch them do their thing because they have a really cool thing that's dialed in, and they're just really funny guys that just happen to be incredibly talented, and that's a beautiful thing.
Pollies get a lot of love on this podcast from me and from other guests.
Good, they deserve it. Yeah.
And in case you're wondering, if you didn't know already, the intro and outro song for this podcast is an unreleased Pollies tune.
Ooh.
And I like to think that it exists because I'm a pain in the ass. Because it's actually an old Sons of Roswell song.
Deep cut.
Yeah, Jay's first band.
Wow.
And it was one that my wife and kid really liked a lot. And it is different than the way the Pollies cut it. But when Cody was playing with the band, I texted Jay out of the blue one day. I was like, hey, look, I know that song was never on a record that got released. I've got like a Sons of Roswell recording of it from their unreleased record. But I was like, you guys should do that and put it out. He was like, you know what? We've actually thrown around the idea of learning one or two of those old songs that nothing ever happened with and putting them out as singles. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, you should do that one.
Yeah.
Because that's what I want to hear.
Well, I'm excited to... I guess I didn't realize, because I've listened to 3 or 4 of the Alabama takes, and I guess I never realized what that song was.
Yeah, that's Pollies.
Okay. Well, thank you, Pollies. I mean, I think I knew it was Pollies. I never realized it was specifically like a...
It's called Through the Noise.
Through the Noise.
Yeah.
That's a perfect title.
That's what I thought about naming the podcast.
Through the Noise is a killer podcast title.
Yeah. But then I was like, that makes it sound like it's just a music podcast, which 90% of the people that I've talked to on the podcast have been musicians or music people. But I was like, I don't want to limit it. And so when I was trying to think of songs to use that I knew I could get permission to use, I was like, holy shit, I gotta use that one. So yeah, I like to think that's because I'm pretty persistent about shit sometimes.
That's a good way to be.
So we'll move on to some lighter shit. Some of these came in from either Aldridge or from some of the Pollies.
God damn.
So Rob Aldridge says, tell us about your typical diet.
First off, Rob Aldridge wasn't indicted when he was on here. I feel like I'm in the hot seat.
This is a fairly new thing. I did this. I think on the last episode I recorded, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna hit some people up for some questions."
Shout out to Rob the Ballbuster Aldridge. He's always finding a way to get them barbs in.
There's another one he asked me to ask you, but I don't know if I should.
I want all of them. Now that we're here, bring it on. Ask me about my typical diet.
Yeah.
Well, I know the context in which Aldridge is referring to my diet. He is probably because he's getting up there in age. He's especially when we're on the road, I just eat like absolute shit, and I try to correct it now because I'm starting to feel the wrath of it.
Sure.
But he has a real like vendetta with he's like, man, one day you're gonna pay for this, and it's like I hear it from of course a lot of people that are like, hey, live it up while you can, because at some point it's gonna take a toll on your health. But I don't know, it's a lot of not eating well at all, just typical
fast food bullshit.
Gas station food. Gas station food. Like today, I was grub southing, and instead of getting the pasta dish that I wanted from Nothing But Noodles, I got a vegetarian one with a bunch of helpful veggies in it. I'm trying to make little steps here and there.
Aldridge is rubbing off.
Yeah, just anything to shut him up. I'm glad you do.
So do you know Lee Baines and the Glory Fires?
Yeah.
So
rock and roll.
Yeah, they have a hashtag that they use on tour a lot called Glory Fires Eat Shit. And it's just when they post like food pictures.
Just the disgusting order.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's something. Ooh,
shout out Blake.
Shout out Lee Baines and the Glory Fires. What a cool band.
Yeah. Doing
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Loudly and proudly.
Did you pre-order that live record?
No.
The vinyl that's coming out?
I did not. I'm slacking on the vinyl because my player doesn't work right now. My turntable doesn't work right now. I use my roommates most of the time.
Yeah.
But no, I have not, but I will definitely get on that.
Well, it's been on the streaming services for a while, but they did like they recorded at the Nick last year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
That's all you needed to say.
If you've seen them live, like, it really kind of captures that, and that sound is just fucking intense.
It's the Nick, baby. It's Lee Baines.
Yeah. So, let's see. Next question from Spencer, a.k.a. Speedy Deezy.
Speezy Deezy?
Yeah, Speezy Deezy. How and why did God grant you such a lovely complexion... And do you moisturize?
Oh, that is such a Spencer Duncan. Such a sweet, sweet question from a sweet, sweet man. No, I don't moisturize at all. I'm taking this completely serious. I actually have pretty bitchin' psoriasis and dermatitis, so I just I think I sweat just enough. I'm just greasy enough to where it keeps it at bay. Yeah. But no, I don't actively moisturize unless it's like a real dry day.
Yeah.
Wintertime, getting out of the shower, I'll throw a little Jergens on.
There you go.
But I should moisturize, and thank you, Spencer, for posing that question, because now I'm going to step up the moisture game.
Skin tips.
Skin tips.
So the last of the questions that I'm taking from those guys was from Spencer as well.
God.
Fuck, marry, or kill.
Yes.
Rob Aldridge, Rob Malone, or Rob Lowe.
Are you Rob Lowe? Rob Malone?
when he sent that, I was like, that's the best one I'll get.
Oh man. Oh, fuck, marry, kill?
Yeah.
Ooh.
3 Robs.
There's repercussions to this, because I'm not in a band with Rob Lowe, unfortunately. Rob Lowe, shout out.
So Aldridge is the band leader, but Malone seems like
they're both
I
band
know him
leaders.
pretty well, but I've never spent that much time with him in vans and such. So I'm assuming he's pretty laid back.
He's
dude.
I'm trying to think of the Nazis I can compare him to. If Rob's Hitler, Malone's Himmler. Just kidding. No, that's not true at all. But they're okay. Fuck, marry, kill. Let me get my head in the game. Well, I got to be progressive either way because they're all dudes. I'm gonna fuck straight up Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe is just wow, what a guy.
That makes sense because he's like, I'm 42, and that dude was in his peak like in the 80s.
Yeah, he was in
the
Outsiders.
Probably like fucking 60 or something, right?
Looks great. Parks and Rec,
yeah.
DirecTV commercial where I'm peaked in high school. Rob Lowe, he's funny.
Yeah.
Mary, I'm gonna go Rob Malone. Because he's just he's very in touch with a lot of healthy. He's a healthy dude. He lives a very respectable, natural life.
I like that you've got reasons for this.
This isn't baseless. This is I've thought about this long and hard for 30 seconds. And he does yoga. Shit, that's all I'm gonna say. Does yoga. I want a husband that does yoga. God damn it.
There you go.
And then sorry, Aldridge, you're getting chopped.
Got to kill the band leader.
Yeah. I guess there's so many different scenarios in which this could be.
Just from what I've gathered from talking to you for the last 45 minutes, he seems kind of like the big brother that likes to give you shit.
It's totally that's why I love him.
That makes sense why you would want to kill him a little bit.
I love him so much. He's my best friend, but he keeps my ass in check, and I'm so glad he does. Because
he's probably glad to know that you wouldn't want to fuck him too.
Yeah, that's sorry, baby. But there's Rob is, and also I needed a good reason to tell my grandparents to not listen to this, and I just got it.
There you go.
Thanks. Sorry.
So when you share it on Facebook, say sorry.
Sorry, Grandma. Sorry, Grandpa.
Papa, yeah.
Sorry, Tag and Judy. Shout out.
You can't listen to it. Sorry.
Sorry, my fictional grandparents, Mimon and Peepop. I'm gonna make up right here on the spot.
Yeah. So were you a Game of Thrones person at all, or
no?
So you had zero interest in what happened?
Take.
Yeah.
Zero. Sorry, I know that's topical, and that would have been good.
Fine.
I'm all Sopranos and all anything without a dragon on HBO.
Yeah.
Way into.
All into it. So Sex and the City was your shit.
Well, it's a funny story actually as to why Game of Thrones didn't work out for me. My ex-girlfriend, who she had a brother that was in a bad accident, and I had an HBO Go account at the time, and one of the things was like, hey, can what's his face use your HBO? He really wants to get caught up on Game of Thrones while he's recovering. I was like, of course. So I let him use my HBO Go account or HBO Now account, whatever. And I just completely got I was so behind on Game of Thrones because someone else was using the account. Yeah. So I just kind of gave up. And then once it kind of got back in the lexicon of like things you have to watch. Yeah. I was just there's just no way. And I was also rewatching The Sopranos for like the third time, and I was not gonna let that stop me from getting my Sopranos fill in.
I should go back and rewatch that because I was super into the first few seasons, and then I missed The last season for sure. I watched the last episode. But I didn't. There was some shit. I was like, what is happening? I have no idea what's going on.
It's good. Are you out of beer, by the way?
No, there's one more. Let me go get it. So, yeah, there was.
You don't have to do that, man.
I was like super into that show, and then that was one of those that I just lost at some point.
It gets kind of slow in some spots, but if you're as obsessed as I am with like the whole mob Italian American thing, like the Cosa Nostra, I think it's so fascinating. But and it's also just funny. Like it's just a funny show.
One of the defining moments of that show for me.
It's gonna be good.
This is how old it was. I was working in Blockbuster Video when those first couple of seasons were being released on DVD or whatever. But I would watch them. I would start in I would watch them a half hour at a time on my lunch break.
Yeah.
In the break room or whatever.
That's a good way to watch them.
Yeah. But I loved it. I think it was season 1. Tony was at Bada Bing. And he was I think he was talking to his mom or somebody. I don't remember who the conversation with, but I just remember him going to hang the phone up. It was an old phone.
I know exactly what you're talking about. He just starts
beating the shit out of it.
The bartender.
Yeah. He's just beating the shit out of the phone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just fucking going off. You could tell he was just kind of...
Yeah.
Unhinged a little.
So glad when they killed her off.
And then it's roll credits,
Yeah, man, his mom needed to go.
Was it a mom moment? I think it...
Probably. Well, the thing
it was just the visual of him losing his shit that was so
great. I was thinking of the first couple of seasons where Welcome Back to Talking Sopranos with Corey and Stone. There's he would be having a phone situation at Bada Bing, and their useless bartender, I forgot his name, that he beats up perennially through the show. It's like Tony's trying to show him how to use the call waiting thing, and he screws it up somehow, and Tony's having one of those moments where he's about to explode. He just grabs the phone and just beats the shit out of the bartender, and you feel bad for the guy, but it's come on, figure it out. You work for a mobster.
Yeah, I would know as much shit about everything as I could, just so I wouldn't have to face that.
I would be sweating blood if I worked at Bada Bing at the Bing.
All right, let me grab a beer. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, guys, quick time out. I want to ask you a big favor. If you like the podcast and you like what we're doing with the articles on the website, please look us up on Facebook. Just search for The Alabama Take. Share our page with your friends. That would help us out a lot. Also, we're on Twitter and Instagram at The Alabama Take. If you could tell a friend about us, help spread the word, that would be really appreciated. Back to the show. Thanks. Of the current shows, I guess, what's capturing your attention if you're not... I mean, Game of Thrones is not current anymore since it's done. But
and on the tube?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the cable.
But yeah, Netflix, whatever.
I have Netflix, HBO, Amazon, and Hulu.
Yeah.
All from different people. Except for HBO. HBO is my one. It's I'll sell plasma to keep HBO
there
going.
You go.
But I will catch up on Game of Thrones one day, by the way. I guess Letterkenny is a big one. I go back and watch the stuff I already like a lot, like Always Sunny or whatever, Anthony Bourdain. But Letterkenny has kind of recently won my heart over because it's so Canadian and dumb.
Matt Waite was talking about that on the podcast. Yeah.
Oh, dude, did I miss? That's so crazy.
I'm pretty sure that was him.
This is just recent. This is within the past week.
Yeah.
That I've really got into it. But yeah.
Yeah, I believe that was his. I believe that was one of his done up real goods.
Oh, sorry, Matt. I didn't mean to.
Wow. Now, the more love you can spread around for the show.
Well, now we have something else to talk about that's not the Stooges or whatever.
Replacements.
Yeah, Replacements. Yeah, that one's starting to get stale. We got to figure out.
Yeah, I think you've had a couple of Replacements posts on your.
Oh yeah,
Facebook recently.
My fave. Yeah, how many times can me and Matt talk about how attractive Paul Westerberg is before we have to, find something else to talk about?
So speaking of done up real good, what's done up real good for you right now?
Done real good.
Okay, I got one. There's a local band. I think they're local. I think they might be Decatur, Huntsville split, but Heel Turn, which is
that name. Yeah.
Heel Turn, yeah. thematically a wrestling band, but it's a hardcore harsh noise band that plays around here. They actually, I think they're either on a tour run right now or they just got back from one. But super killer, insane live show. Their merch is, I mean, incredible. It's like I have a shirt that I thought was Nature Boy,
Ric
Flair, and then Kevin from the Proponents, shout out Kevin, was nice enough to point out to me that it was not Ric Flair. It was another blonde-haired wrestler's mugshot on the T-shirt. But all their merch is like cool, wrestling themed, and their live show's crazy. Josh Allen, the frontman, is insane. He's got like a really good, intense presence. And anyways, my other band that I'm in, Silver Fern's, shared the stage with them a couple of times, and they've just been like a wow band.
Yeah.
So they're done up real good for me.
Well, I just realized we didn't get into Silver Ferns that much because I went almost directly into all of the questions from the Pollies guys.
Dude, I'm really happy that that's a segment here now because there's no people I'd rather take questioning from than those
the
dudes
Pollies
and Rob. But
so tell me about Silver Fern. I know we're doubling back, but
it's Silver Fern is really cool. It's Shannon Wren, who plays guitar and sings and is the principal songwriter. Great front lady. Stephen Whaley, who's her significant and guitar player, like pedalboard genius, really cool soundscape artist. And then Jacob Stewart, who's my buddy, who plays drums, who's very mathematically articulate, like rhythm-wise, and just a super cool dude. And then me on bass.
Yeah.
And it's really cool. It's more shoegazy, emotionally driven songwriter stuff. It's more like Cocteau Twins than Pavement, but it's really cool stuff, and it's kind of I was happy or lucky enough to get asked to play with them after Sluice Fest, which I played with another band that was very short lived. Shout out Sluice Fest, Ashley Sluice. But yeah, I've been playing with them for I guess about a year.
Nice.
But yeah, they're really cool. It's a really cool thing. I get like the best of both worlds thing with like Rob and the Proponents, and then I have this kind of more laid back but still very much articulate thing.
Yeah.
So that's cool. We played Saturday at Low Mill. We're playing again at Low Mill at Barking Dog this Saturday,
nice.
Which I'm sure this might air after that, but
actually, yeah, I think I'm going to put this one out Wednesday unless something changes.
Oh, okay. Well, then, Saturday, Barking Dog. We're playing with Participation Ribbon, great band from Birmingham.
What time is that?
I believe 7. I think doors are at 7. Is that too early?
I got to work.
Man.
Yeah, I don't typically work weekends, but I'm in the middle of a lot of weekend work right now.
I understand.
So
playing catch up?
Ish. I've got to shoot some stuff at Stand Up Live that night.
Oh, who is it?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I'm just there basically to shoot some like reaction shots.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
those are always easy
for a commercial for them. But
okay.
Yeah,
I got you.
So if you're in the Shoals / Huntsville / North Alabama area, Silver Ferns at Low Mill / Barking Dog Saturday night.
Yes, we are.
So is there like material out there that
we are actually releasing the first Silver Fern record at Salty Nut? I'm gonna stall so I can pull up my calendar and figure out the exact date. With a killer lineup, like this band Matron from New Orleans, which is they're hard to describe. They're so good. They're playing with us. Just a second. Let me pull up this poster. It's a really cool poster. So Matron's great. Captain Kudzu, which is this guy Jackson from Birmingham that we played with at a house show one time. He's amazing. And then Bitter Calm, which is a Birmingham indie rock band. I haven't met, but I've listened to their stuff, and they're great. And that's June 15th at Salty Nut at 6, I guess, when doors are. But that's, Silver Fern, we're releasing our first thing, and after that it should be on like Bandcamp or
Yeah.
So
all the places online.
And also, if you're a proponent of the Proponents, will be at the Lumberyard June 7th. I think it's a Friday.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love the Lumberyard.
Yeah, the Lumberyard Kiln, I'm sure. Yeah. That's it.
That's one of those places I keep meaning to go, like, eat, because I've only ever really been there and had a couple beers.
Food's pretty good.
I've eaten like a little bit. We shot a thing over there last year, and filmed a couple of food shots and got to eat the stuff, and it was pretty delicious.
It's a nice place. If I believed in marriage, it's the place I'd get married.
Yeah, I love it over there.
No
it's
offense.
Pretty cool.
Just kidding.
Well, you're supposed to marry Rob Malone.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Set that up.
All right, we got to set. Sorry, Beth. Shout out, Beth.
Well, man, I think that's all. That's all I've got. Unless you've got anything else you want to contribute.
Oh man, I don't have any other shameless plugs. I'm just really dude. Thank you so much for having me. This is really great.
You're welcome.
I feel like the belle of the ball, man. Like,
I feel like the seed was planted. You mentioned the Nirvana show that the Pollies did. I feel like that night you were like, dude, have me on your podcast.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I remember this specifically. Me and you were standing outside the bathroom waiting in line, and Aldridge was in the bathroom, and I didn't know this. And I just listened to Rob Aldridge's Alabama Take episode where he credited Kevin
Huey Lewis,
the Huey Lewis having a big dick thing.
That's it.
We were on the road and we were listening to something, and I told Aldridge, is it still going?
Yep.
Okay, thank God.
I don't know what that flash was for.
Oh, those task cams keep.
I still got 2 bars.
Well, that's good. But I told Aldridge about, Huey Lewis has the biggest dick in rock and roll. He's like, I've never heard that. And I went and researched it. Not that intensely, just some write-ups on it. And then he did the Alabama Take with you, and he gave it to, he was like, I think Kevin told me, and I was doing laundry listening to it, and it drove me up a fucking wall. I was like, that was me, god damn it.
That's funny because on the way here, it's not in my notes because I thought about it in the car. I was like, Stone was the one that told Rob the dick story. I said, I think that came up at 116.
And then I was loudly bitching about it to you, and then Rob was in the bathroom, and he came out and defended himself, I guess. But that's what I was like, you should have me on the podcast just to clear the air.
Yeah.
So this is all I really wanted, was to get that out.
I got sports for like $3 not long after that at a record collector show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Dude, I need a copy of sport. I do not have sports.
Yeah.
But
I got same dude. I bought Frank Zappa, Hot Rats, Huey Lewis Sports, Van Halen. Shit, not Diver Down. One of the other ones.
Women and Children First.
Yeah.
Was it that?
Yeah, I believe so. It was one of those earlier because I only had the only other Van Halen record I have.
Was it Fair Warning?
Is 1984. No.
Okay.
It had to have been Women and Children First. And then what else? Shit, there was one other. Anyway, this dude gave me like a super deal, and I was like, fuck yeah, sports for $3.
Dude, yeah. And what a cool cover, too. I think Bob's Burgers is a Bob's Burgers episode where they just have a Huey Lewis record like sports. And so it's the Bob's Burgers animation of that album cover, and there's something about it. It's so funny.
I need to find that.
Google it. It's out there somewhere.
Yeah, that's awesome. I need to find that. That's one of those shows, like, at first I wasn't a big fan of it.
It grows on you.
Yeah, my wife and kid watched it a bunch, and then for whatever reason, it just clicked one day, and then I went back and watched all of them up until I was just, like, binging them, and I think I was mid season 5 and I got really busy and I haven't picked up and finished it.
Well, that's good. You let it kind of build up so you can binge again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. I think that's it.
Well, thanks for letting me stink up your place.
We covered lots of shout outs. We covered Huey Lewis's dick. All kinds of stuff.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Someone needed to say it. We were all thinking it.
That's right. Well, thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right. That'll do it for this episode. Please do me a favor and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Alabama Take, or check us out at thealabamatake.com. And be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us on iTunes if you like what we're doing.